Alright, so the plan is to wrap those metal rods in the white fabric. I ruined these when taking the old seat cover off. I just ripped them out. Didn't realize it, but that's life. Live and learn. So I should probably say I'm not any type of professional. I really have no experience with this. The most sewing I did was in high school. I sewed a dinosaur in my one class. It's pretty badass if I don't say so myself, but yeah, other than that, no real experience, but I was confident with this. It wasn't rocket science after all. So some of my techniques are probably, to put it bluntly, god awful, but hey, I mean, whatever gets the job done. Here I'm struggling with a knot for a while before I remembered how to do it. When you're threading the needle, you always gotta remember to have the needle on the thread. So right off the bat, I already messed this up, but hey, it worked out better, I think, to be quite honest. Double layered string really, or thread rather, I think helped hold it together, so cool. Alright, so these are the rods that hold the fabric down to the foam of the seat. They get that nice like 3D, I'm not really sure how to describe it, like that recessed area. So these rods are sewn on the back of the fabric and then pinned down. But we'll see all that later. Just very simple, just sewing it down, sewing down the line. Just going for whatever, structural integrity, I guess you could say. Nobody will ever see this anyway, so if it's not pretty, no big deal. Alright, so we tie this up, and that's it. 2 more to go. Alright, all 3 rods are done, ready to go on the seat fabric. And here we see the material that will be going on the seat. And I'll show you how these are set up. Alright, next step was to take our recently wrapped metal rods and just sew them to the fabric. It seemed like each step got progressively harder, so you'll see me struggle here a little bit. Got the furrowed brow going on, the curse words, the rage, you know, all kinds of funny faces and stress, but we get there eventually. Now that the rod's attached to the fabric, we can test fit it. Throughout this project, I did a lot of double checking and test fitting. Just seemed like the logical thing to do, and it worked out. Here's the metal rods connected just for reference. They go around these metal loops. And that's where we're at so far. Here I'm marking where the other rods should go and connecting them to the fabric. The rod's connected, we'll hook it up to the cushion. Hope they're in the right place. This part may look quick and painless, but it definitely was not. These things are very tight, very well made. Just not fun. Rewarding when it was done, but definitely a process. So here we have all the rods connected. Next step is to secure the rods to these other metal loops on the side with these metal pins. Just for added support. That's what we've got so far. All that fabric will get stretched out and pinned down. Here I'm doing a bit of a test fitting. Here I'm cutting that fabric to help that crease. Help it around that corner. The car that I got the fabric out of had an armrest, so there was some excess material. And that was one of the most nerve-wracking parts. Aside from the rods connecting, I didn't like cutting the fabric because if you mess that up, you got trouble. So I went ahead and pinned down the fabric, and then it's as simple as just rolling it up and under, pinning it down, and going around the cushion. So this was the problem area. What to do with this fabric that's overlapping. I knew that was going to be tough. So I marked the fabric where it needed cut, left myself a little extra, and had at it. Next step was hand sewing that patch. This took the most trial and error out of anything in the project. It was hard to get the seam right, hard to get the stitch right. I still didn't, but I think I did good enough for now. I may go back and fix it, but we'll see. I'm a little burned out right now. But here I get a little smarter. I try to go from the inside, and I guess that prompted the final, well, the better way of sewing it up. I folded both over, just looped it around. So the top's where I really sort of hit my stride. This was much easier to work with. And I think the top came out pretty nice. So I may go back and fix that hole, but we'll see. And the final step was just sewing this plastic connecting piece or whatever. It just slides into the rail. You fold it over. I mean, this was just really straightforward. This was a nice break from the rest of the project. Good way to end it. And you just fold it over into the frame rail. And here's what it should hopefully look like. I did the other side real quick. Just folded it over. I attached the black backing plate. And here's the final result. Came out pretty nice, all things considered. There's another shot of it. And here it is in the car. So I mean, overall, it's not perfect, but it saved me a lot of money. It's a good experience, and honestly, I like doing it. It was very fulfilling and satisfying. Much more flow in my interior. Seats all match. And here's a final look. Wow, that was a project. Turned out pretty well for my first time, I think. I'm happy with it. A few things I would have done differently. I would have done a little research. I would have been much more gentle taking the fabric off the donor seat. And I would have took the fabric to the fabric shop to match the thread better. And would have sewn that hole up with the fabric off. That was the real problem area. But anyway, turned out okay. For my first time, I'm happy. Anyway, like I said, I would not really try this at home. I wouldn't undertake a project like this. But I mean, if you want to learn something new, try something different, you always could. It's very possible. So anyway, leave me a like and a comment. Let me know what you think, how the seats look. There's definitely room for improvement, but I don't know. I had fun doing it. So if you made it this far, thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.